Hello again, everyone. This is Howard Cosell, speaking of sports.
You are listening to the Cheap Seats.
Who are these guys?
On Twitter at TCS Willis MSP Betterman, Spreaker and iHeartRadio.
Here is Steve and Steve.
Oh my God. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
Ah, boy, here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is time for the Cheap Seats as we sit here and do our
There's the
terrible,
stuff that doesn't go on the air.
Terrible voice. All right,
Let's do this over again.
All right, hell with it. We're gonna break it out.
There we go. Let's do it now. We're here now.
I am your
host.
I am your talk show host, Barack Obama.
You're right there. I can see you. You're right, Barack. That's me, Jimmy. Just say hello there for a while. You sound like Mr. Magoo there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the music ran out.
Yeah, we completely ran out. The music totally ran out.
You see what happens when you don't have a show? We miss a week.
Yes.
We come back with so much, what do they call it, spit and vinegar?
Yeah.
I can think of some other words, but...
Yeah, quite a few. Hey, by the way, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I hope everything went well.
Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, hopefully, to everybody.
Yes.
They had a good Christmas. I know I did. What about you?
Well, hell, my stocking was stuffed, so I was pretty good there.
There you go. My stocking, my stomach, my everything.
Yes,
so,
yes. Kids were home.
Yeah, your kids. Yeah, your kids came into town.
Yep, they were there.
Great time.
I had a great time. Took Zach back before the new year, and it was fun. Watch the ball drop with my wife. We had a good time.
Nice, that's fantastic. Yeah, we just
I was in bed by 12:08.
There you go.
Someone had to work the next day.
Well, there you go. That'll do it. I have been on vacation for my other job, so I have been burning the midnight oil, watching lots and lots of TV.
Are you been catching up on your Netflix?
Actually, yeah. You know what's funny is we restarted watching Breaking Bad.
You know, I have never watched that. My kids go, "Why haven't you watched that yet?"
I love the series.
Yeah,
I absolutely do. Yeah. And we got my father-in-law into watching it. Now he's just as addicted as the people that are on meth in the show.
Now, I started watching The Crown on Netflix.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Very, very good.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, you know what else I was watching? A whole lot of NFL football.
Oh my God! Between that and the bowl games, yes.
We are in Wildcard Weekend.
Woo!
And here we go. And guess who's playing this weekend? The Green Bay Packers.
Yes, they are. The hottest team in football right now.
Aaron Rodgers said they would run the table, and they ran the table.
Yeah, I told you.
Unbelievable. You know, I said just before we went on, I said, congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. He has to have, I think he's got a DeLorean with a flux capacitor in his garage because somehow he's able to do this. This is the second time he's predicted the way their season was going to end. And he did it halfway through the season when it looked like there was no way possible it was going to end that way. And sure enough, it did. The last time, remember everybody, RELAX. Yes, everybody remembers that. And now this time, well, we're just going to have to run the table, or we're going to run the table, is what he said.
Yeah, he said, I'm not worried. I think we're going to run the table.
Yeah, and what do? They run the table. Yes.
Yep.
So,
you know, the last time the Packers entered the playoffs at 10-6, you know what happened, right?
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl.
They won the doggone Super Bowl. They're damn right they did.
Now, there is a little something standing in the way this year, and that is called a lot tougher AFC and NFC opponents in the Green Bay, or in the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people are saying the Kansas City Chiefs.
A
lot of people are saying the Atlanta Falcons.
Right now, what I heard the favorites are for the NFC is whoever wins this game between Green Bay and New York.
I've heard a few people argue that.
Yeah.
And I can totally make a case for both of those teams.
Yeah.
Because Eli is playoff Eli.
Well, his defense is playoff defense is playoff Giants.
Well, this is true too, but you
Eli,
see him make plays that he normally doesn't, throws that he normally doesn't. Now everybody says, "Well, David Tyree made an incredible catch." That's true, but that wasn't the only throw in the game.
Yeah, but the thing is yes, he's not playing. He's not playing typically. He still had 15, 16 interceptions this year.
This is true.
It's not like he's this human highlight reel, because he isn't. He still makes the same mistakes. The thing is that this year the defense is back to the way they were when they won the Super Bowl those 2 years.
This is true too.
If you take a look at those games, it wasn't Eli that won the game. It was the defense that won the game.
I don't know. I would say his numbers were actually really good in that Super Bowl game against the Patriots. What did he go 28 of 37 for like 250 yards and 2 touchdowns? That's pretty good.
Everything was
good numbers.
Everything was underneath.
That's still good numbers.
I understand.
Hey, if you're throwing the ball 8 yards at a time, you only got to do it twice to get a first down every time. It's not. This is.
I understand, but
Joe Montana made a living off that for 12 years.
No one is going to put Eli in the elite member of quarterbacks.
I've never said that.
I know, but
for some reason, regular season Eli and playoff Eli are two completely different animals. So I will make a case for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, moving to the Green Bay Packers, we have to make a case for them just because of some of the stuff that you mentioned. Obviously, going 10-6. The last time they came in a 6th seed, they even backed into the playoffs as a 6th seed because they lost, and then they came in and they ran it.
Yeah.
Now this year they're a 4 seed, 10-6, and they ran the table to get where they are now.
But there's a big difference between the team that won the Super Bowl and this team now. The team that won the Super Bowl had a defense. They had a very, very strong defense. They were playing top line, top level. This year, the defense has been adequate, and the problem right now is who are they going to have play cornerback? Last week they finished the game with 2 safeties playing cornerback because they didn't have one.
Right.
They signed a guy off the practice squad. They're hoping that Demarius Randall will be ready to play. Mm-hmm. Did you see the report that Charles Tillman wanted to come out of retirement and play for the Packers because he wants a ring?
I did hear that. Yes. Yes.
If I was a Packer, I'd say, hey, take a flyer on him. What the hell? He can't be any worse than what we got out there right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You could pull probably about 3 guys out from the front row and do just as good now.
For them to do what they've done, and here's the thing, you got to remember, they had 14 takeaways over the previous 3 weeks, something like that, 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
And they're doing this with a secondary that was just patchwork.
Yeah, literally pieced together.
It's just what Clay Matthews is playing with a severely separated shoulder. You've got your whole secondary, other than your 2 safeties. I should say 3 safeties because Micah Hyde comes in and he's a safety, but he'll play in the nickel. Mm-hmm. Now you got him playing. He's taking on one of the wideouts now. You had a couple of these guys come up. It's amazing to see what they've done. So far with this. Now, whether they can hold that over against the wide receivers that the Giants will throw at them. You got to remember, you got Beckham, you got Shepard, you got Cruz, and I think Cruz is the missing man right now. Mm-hmm. And I think if anything is going to burn the Packers this Sunday, I think it's going to be Victor Cruz. Because you're going to have the attention given to Beckham. You're going to have the attention given to Shepard. But Cruz is, I think, the guy under the radar right now.
I really agree with that. Odell Beckham Jr. is still going to have his share of plays. And when your secondary is being cobbled together like what the Packers is, that is going to be the weak point that full well New York is going to try and attack. It's really hard to look at this and not say, well, Odell Beckham Jr., if he doesn't get 15, 16 targets in this game just by himself,
right,
the offense really needs to be retooled in the offseason because they don't know how to pick out strategy.
Well, I mean, and the thing, if you're the Packers, you're saying all we can hope is that it's colder than hell. We have a lot of snow, and our front seven can put some pressure on Eli.
Yeah.
To where he doesn't have time to get out there.
Right, exactly. And so it's gonna be an interesting game. I think it's gonna be a barn burner, really. I think
it's gonna be a great game.
If it is not like 5 degrees outside or something like that, if it warms up a little bit, like they're saying it's going to warm up a little bit for the game, if it's not frigid outside, I see this being a 30-point game on both sides, easy. Let's moving to the AFC, where you want to talk about piecing stuff together. God, 3 starting quarterbacks in the AFC side of the wild card with 0 playoff experience playing this weekend.
High of 16 in Green Bay on Sunday.
Well, that's going to be that's a bit on the frosty side.
A low coming in of -1.
That's going to be a lot on the frosty side. So we'll have to see. Well, let's see what it looks like when they get down on the field. Anyhow,
yeah, but the AFC,
on the AFC side,
you're so right with the quarterbacks.
If you told me at the beginning of the year 3 of the 4 wild card teams in the AFC are going to be quarterbacks that have never seen the playoffs before, I would have told you you're crazy. But you have who do we got now? Connor Cook.
Yeah, Connor Cook. Yep.
We have I'm trying to remember who said was starting, or who'd they say was starting for the Dolphins?
Isn't it Tannehill?
I thought they said they were hoping for Tannehill to be ready, but he probably wasn't.
Well, he hasn't started in a playoff game either way.
Well, either way, he hasn't started in play. But anyhow, we're talking about Oakland, obviously, right. Houston, and the Dolphins, all 3. Yeah,
because while Osweiler will get the start in Houston, and he was on Denver last year, he didn't play.
No, he didn't play in the playoffs. He played during the regular season. He's played during the regular season here.
Oh, no, he didn't. He just showed up this year.
Well,
he showed up to got his paycheck.
However, he has not played in the playoffs, and so
spend it wisely.
So we are talking 3. Yeah. The only quarterback in the AFC side that has any playoff experience this weekend is going to be Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, and really, a lot of people are trying to make the case for the Steelers to possibly even lose this game. Wow. I don't see how. It's going to be, about the only thing that I can imagine. Look, here's the game that I'm looking at, because I'm not even going to bother with the Houston-Oakland game.
No, that's just an abortion.
Oakland has no shot. I hate to say that. I hate to say it.
And
Oakland has no shot. I'm sorry. They don't. They don't.
I put it this way. I think in that game, I think Oakland does win that game.
I don't.
But
I saw Cook go in there. If they have to put the ball in his hands at any point, 3rd and long, whatever, I have 0 faith.
But here's the thing: you got to remember, Houston still has put the ball in Osweiler's hands. That's. I'm sorry. Right. I've watched that train wreck all year.
Connor Cook has had 1/4 of game experience in his NFL career.
And that's still better than what Osweiler gave this year.
1/4 of game experience is in his NFL career.
Yeah.
That scares the hell out of me going into this game if I'm a Raiders fan.
It scares the hell out of me too, but I will put it this way. I will put Oakland's defense up against Houston's defense. This is not going to be a pretty game. It's going to be an ugly game. The best thing that happened to Oakland is they're coming up against a team that's may have a worse offense than they do.
The only way Oakland wins this game is if the defense scores points. That's the only way they win that game.
And with Khalil Mack and some of these other guys, that can happen very quick.
I doubt it. We'll see, but I doubt it. Going to the Pittsburgh-Miami game, I think Miami has a shot for this reason. Their defense is ridiculously good at keeping pressure on the quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger makes plays But constant pressure, you can eventually get in his head and make get him to make mistakes. They are very advantageous at doing that. They're number 3 in the league at forcing turnovers. All right, number 3. They're very good at forcing turnovers. Their offense is a little stagnant, but God, they can run the ball.
Yep,
and that is the one thing that the Pittsburgh defense has struggled with all year is stopping the run. If Miami can control the clock, if they can keep the Pittsburgh offense off the field and keep the killer bees from scoring a mountain of points to where they don't have to play catch up the entire game, and they can keep running the ball and they can tire that defense out, I think Miami can make a push and win the game. And I really think that's not outside of the realm of possibility.
See, and I look at this game, and I look at it as it's going to be a run marathon. I don't see a lot of passes. Le'Veon Bell is, and I think any passes Ben throws, they're going to be short. Because I think he's going to have pressure if he's going to be back there for a while.
I think he's going to take a few shots at Antonio Brown, but I
think he will too. But
I think they'll be hard to come by because I really think Miami's going to keep the heat on.
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure,
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be a run marathon. I think you're going to see, the first time these teams played. Remember, they played earlier in the season,
right?
But Le'Veon Bell was not there. And that's, a good, healthy Le'Veon Bell who's been, performing like a wild man here this last month and a half. I think that could be the difference. And on the other side, yes, you're going to see a strict diet of J.J. going, here, going right, going left. How many 200-yard rushing games did he have this year? 4?
Yeah, I think it was. It was 4.
4. I don't know. I'd have to take a look. Has anyone had more than 4 or more than 3 200-yard rushing games in a season? I thought that was just unbelievable that he's done that.
I don't. I didn't really go through the stat for that, so I couldn't tell you. But I can definitely say this, that he is going to be the key to that Pittsburgh offense, and if Ben Roethlisberger wants to keep the pressure off, they're going to feed it to him early and often. You're going to see screen passes to Le'Veon Bell. You're going to see him on delayed runs and stuff like that, shovel passes, things that Pittsburgh can do to try and get some of the heat off of Roethlisberger and make the linebackers think twice before they just go charging after the quarterback. If they don't do that, if they don't make Le'Veon Bell literally 60 to 65% of their offensive strategy in this game, Miami's going to have a heyday. They're going to tee off on Ben Roethlisberger because that offensive line is not going to be able to protect him, not anywhere close to how bad Miami's going to be putting the pressure on to rush him and force him to make mistakes.
Right. I think it's gonna be a hell of a game. I really do. Miami has been a surprise team all year. This was a team you didn't know if they were going to be good or where they were going to finish up. I saw this as a 7-9 team, an 8-8, and to do what they did, because I think maybe because I expected a little bit more out of Buffalo. I expect a little bit more from the Jets. That both teams gave us nothing. But Miami, all of a sudden, we saw Ajayi just do what he did, and I don't think anyone saw that coming. I don't think anyone saw this kid as the runner that he has become. And I think if they do a good job of just feeding him and just trying to run that clock down, I think they got a good chance of taking this ball game.
All right, and then we're going to go to the last wild card game. The wild card game we didn't talk about is actually going to be tomorrow. It's going to be the late game tomorrow, and that is going to be the Lions and Seahawks. Obviously, Detroit lost the NFC North title to the Green Bay Packers last week, but they still look like a formidable team coming into this playoff game, especially against a Seahawks team, which, in my opinion, is a little overblown. I think they're a little bit overrated, and when they come into this game, this defense is not the same defense that everybody expects. The offense still, they can put some points up. They're still, in my opinion, they're still hit or miss. They don't look fantastic. I mean, this Seahawks team is not going to wow you, and they won a bad division. This is why they're here. So when you look at this game, does it look like Detroit may win its first playoff game in over 2 decades?
If Detroit can handle the noise, if they can handle the bedlam that is Safeco Field, they will win this game. I think you hit everything right on the head there. I mean, Seattle won the weakest division in football, and they barely did that. They didn't look good doing that.
Right.
They have no rushing game. They lost their best special teams and a good wideout in Tyler Lockett. Mm-hmm. They lost their safety. The defense is nothing like it used to be. And you go, hey, yeah, but they still did this and this and this. Yeah, but look who they played.
Right.
They played 6 games against the Cardinals, the Rams, and San Francisco.
And now, and let's put that in perspective. The Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, both of those teams are picking what, number 2 and number 3, or number 2 and number 4,
and where's Arizona? Like Arizona had what, 4 or 5 wins?
Yeah, and Arizona's in the top 6 or 7 draft choices as well. Now, mind you, the Cardinals were supposed to be better than that. They underachieved greatly. They had a few injury problems, but they underachieved greatly. But the Rams and the 49ers, we expected them to be complete dumpster
I think
fires.
it was that the Cowboys as a team had more wins than Arizona, San Francisco, and L.A. added together.
Probably Cleveland too. If you
drop all 4
of them in there, you may as well.
So I mean, if I look at this, Detroit is a good ball team. They have a good defense. They've had some struggles the last couple of weeks. I mean, they had to finish against 3 really good teams. They had to finish against Dallas, the Giants, and the Packers. 3 other playoff teams.
Right.
So I mean, it was something to them. I mean, they were tested and they were actually in all 3 ball games.
Yeah.
They played very well against Dallas before they lost that game.
To me, that makes them an incredibly dangerous team in the playoffs right now. And the reason being is because they've had 3 weeks to look at all 3 of these playoff teams and go, we got to see what your tendencies are. We got to watch every bit of what you guys do, how you go about your business on the field, and it's fresh in our minds.
But the only problem is, and I understand what you're saying, is they got to see these 3 teams, but that's not who they're playing this week.
No, it's not who they're playing this week.
And the thing is that playing on the road, it takes a little bit more.
Right. But let me put it to you this way, and maybe you'll agree with me on this. You golf, right?
I do.
Okay. When you play with a golfer that's a little better than you, or a little better than the average people you play with, I should say that. Mm-hmm. When you play with a golfer is a little better than the people you play with on the norm, you generally step up your game.
Yep.
Your game somehow seems to elevate because you're trying to keep up with that person. Even though golf is a game where it's you against the course, you tend to want to try and keep up with that person. You tend to elevate your game.
Right.
For the last 3 weeks, Detroit has played teams where they knew they were going to have to step up their game. They were going to have to elevate their game. I don't think that gives them any kind of inherent advantage against Seattle, but I do think it helps mentally ready you to play the better talent that is in the NFL playoffs versus spending your last 3 games against the Titans, the Browns, and maybe the 49ers or something like that.
Decent this year, but I understand what you're saying, and
the Titans sans Marcus Mariota.
And I understand what you're saying, but just like when I golf against that guy, it's a little bit better. I still get my butt kicked in the end.
I'm not going to argue that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this means that they will win.
No, but
what I am saying is that there's a level of, hey, I've got to step up my game.
But there's a level you got to step up your game, but there's also a level that says maybe we're just not in the same league as these teams right now, and it can be a little bit demoralizing. It can go one or two ways. It can jack you up a little bit and say, hey, we're here and we're ready to play, or it can demoralize you a little bit. When you go up against those three lesser teams and you whomp them 34-6 or whatever, what you've done there, though, is you've actually built yourself up and you think you're this great team, and you have a tendency then to either be overconfident of what you can do when you start running up against a good team, and that can hurt you that way.
This is true.
I look at Detroit coming to this game, and they're coming in, and I think they realize how good of team they are because they did play down to the wire against those three teams. I think it still comes down to the point. If they can take the crowd out of this game, if they can do that, they will win. It's going to also depend upon, can they keep Matthew Stafford on his feet? Because if he spends a lot of time on his backside, that's not going to do it for him. One of the things out of this, and I don't know if you heard this. Did you hear Michael Bennett's quote on Zane Zenner in this thing?
No.
No. He made the quote. Yeah, Zane Zenner. He's the best white running back out there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, you
want to put the little, let's throw some things on the board there. But
yeah. It is Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with that.
His comment was that he was the best white running back in the NFL.
Nice.
And Zenner said everyone's entitled to their opinion. It sounded like he said some pretty nice stuff, so I'm appreciative of that. And I tell you, I like Zenner.
Well, way to handle it.
But I mean, it's just like, wow, you want to sit there and cause some controversy. Of course, that's Seattle. Now, the other thing come out of Seattle is that you'll love this. Is Richard Sherman said that he's not going to be talking to the press.
He's not going to talk to the press.
No, he's going to talk to one guy in the press.
One guy.
One guy. That's
Who's that guy?
I'm trying to remember who the heck it was, but I'd be going, like, you ever talk to the press to begin with?
Yeah. How much do you talk to him?
You had to make that announcement that
we don't. All we got to do is just catch you while you're coming off the field, and that's all you got.
Yeah, we just have someone giving a.
Yeah.
Who can ever forget that classic? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The tirade.
Yes.
Right after. Yeah.
Right after the Super Bowl win.
Yes.
Yeah. That was. Wow.
No, it was the NFC Championship game.
Was the NFC Championship game? Yeah.
It was the NFC Championship.
Well, that's right.
game.
When he knocked Michael Crabtree.
Yeah. He was beating up on Michael Crabtree, which hey, whatever. You're in game mode. I get it, but still, I don't know. The debate's still out on that as to was it appropriate to ask him right then or not. But either way.
But anyways, I mean that's the Seattle team that you have right now. I think you have a team that's. I'll be honest with you. I think their defense is getting a little bit past their prime. I think it was the best defense. I think they're a little hurt, they're a little beat up. I don't think they're as good as
there's a few parts that are there that aren't there anymore that were there that made the difference. Right. So I mean it is not the same defense.
No, not at all.
It's not as scary as what they once were. All right, when we got to get a break. When we come back, who is the best team? Who's the team with the best chance of making it to the Super Bowl from the AFC and the NFC side if you were to just completely remove the Patriots and the Cowboys from the playoffs? Steve and I are going to discuss that right on the other side of this. You're listening to the Cheap Seats on XCRS Radio.
Have you heard those two wacky guys, Chris and Ginn, on the Life is Art Also show? They share their favorite songs and their future favorites, too. They have live interviews with authors, comedians, artists, and musicians, and lots more. They also have a Word of the Week with Mad Dog Ho, the official lexicographer of Internet Radio. Tune in every Thursday, 6 p.m. on XERS.com.
Broadcasting listening to the Four Corners of the Earth, Michiana Edge, every Sunday night, 7 p.m., XERSradio.com.
You stick with it, and you're passionate about it, you'll get better.
Climb aboard Starship Comedy and join co-hosts Adam Nielsen and
your beloved comedian, Colton Cole,
as we boldly go where no internet radio team from Michiana has gone before.
I am a legend from the future.
We will travel to the comedy underworld so you will know where's the show.
I miss when drinking was fun, though. You know what I mean? Like, before it was like a problem, you know?
If it's funny or it's cool, we will cover it. Hey. See what I did there?
I was sent from space.
Dude, that's gold.
Just like my jokes.
Your mama must be so proud.
Why can't you love me?
Whether it's a hot rod or a grocery getter, DDW Automotive and Transmission has you covered. Since 1991, they've been located at 204 South Beach Road in Osceola, Indiana. Stop by or call 574-651-5000. Ask for Dave. Who? Tell him you heard about him on XERS Radio. Dave? With over 46 years experience in the automotive and transmission repair business, they offer all your high-performance service and maintenance needs. Bring your ride to DDW. If your tranny misbehaves, just call Dave.
Contact Kickstart Studios, audio recording services for all your recording needs. Songwriters, comedians, band demos, commercials, voiceovers, narration, sound effects, background music. Give us a call, 574-274-8046. Kickstart Studios at Comcast.net or like us on Facebook at Kickstart Studios.
From all of the games on our big screens to the best collection of memorabilia from your favorite sports greats, Rock Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Mishawaka has you covered. Our menu features something for everyone. Amazing sandwiches and wraps, and the best burgers around, including the Rockstar Overdose, 2 half-pound patties, served with bacon, cheddar cheese, and piled high with French fries. Like us on Facebook to check out our daily food and drink specials that are sure to be great on your gut and easy on your wallet. We've got you covered between game days, too. Wednesday night is trivia night where you can match wits with your buddies for great prizes. And every weekend, Rocks features great music from some of Michiana's finest artists. Come see why there's no better place to get your fan fix than Rock Sports Bar and Grill in the Yorktown Center building in downtown Mishawaka. For those who come to Rocks, we salute you.
And we are back. The Cheap Seats on XERS Radio. Got a whole lot of Wildcard Weekend coming up for you guys.
Yes, we do.
College football is down to its final game. Got a lot to talk about there. Alabama making some surprising moves right before this incredible second. Was this the second or third? This is the third college football season. The rematch
from last year,
Alabama versus Clemson. That is it's going to be a good game. It's, to me, I think this story really kind of detracts from the game, but it's a story nonetheless, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Right now, we're still talking NFL Wildcard Weekend, and if you were to just completely remove the Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots from the NFL playoffs, just completely wipe out their spots, wipe out their seeds. The question now is, who is your favorite to go to the Super Bowl on either side? And we'll start on the AFC side. Who is out of the teams that are left, if all the teams not named New England Patriots, who is your favorite right now to go to the Super Bowl?
Well, this is the easiest. This is the easiest pick. When we get the NFC, it's much more convoluted. But on the AFC, you take New England out of the picture, it's Kansas City going to the Super Bowl. I mean, Kansas City is your, out of the other 5 teams, this is your most complete team. They've got a good running game. They've got a good passing game. They've got a good, strong defense. They're playing at a high level. They haven't had a lot of injuries this year. I mean, they basically have stayed, fairly injury-free. Their defense, this is a defense that is so opportunistic. It's just crazy. The only thing that's hurt the Kansas City Chiefs this year, in my opinion, has been play calling and Andy Reid. I mean, in the games that they've struggled against, the play calling has been the thing that has hurt them the most.
If I were to take any team, I would take the Chiefs as well, and two main reasons. Number one, the completeness of the team. Mm-hmm. All right, and so I have to go with you on that. Tyreek Hill is the ultimate X factor right now, I think, in the entire playoffs. The guy, we haven't seen, Kansas City hasn't seen somebody like him since Dante Hall. Mm-hmm. And he is, not only is he a great kick returner, but you can use him on every offensive down in the slot receiver. He reminds me a lot of Oz Hakeem back in the '99 Rams days when they had the greatest show on turf. He was so very fast, but he was also good in the slot reception.
But the thing
department.
is Kansas City uses him much. I mean, they have no problem using the jet sweep with him coming around. You didn't see St. Louis use Hakeem that way. Hakeem was more the guy that went right down the middle.
This is true.
He separated right through the safety,
but I was also thinking of his kick return, punt return.
Oh yeah, no. He
like
has that too. But I think Hill has a much more broader base of what he does. And after watching him give him the handoff and going for the jet sweep for like 60 yards for a touchdown, okay.
The other thing you have to look at is when he gets into the open field.
You're not catching him.
Nobody can. You couldn't catch him on a motorcycle. He is so fast. It is blindingly fast. I haven't seen anybody run down the field that fast in a long time. Now, the other thing that Kansas City had, they're getting healthy at the right time. In the few spots that they need to, Justin Houston is coming back. He is ready. He is going to be ready for next week. Mm-hmm. He's going to be ready for next week. They're going to have Marcus Peters is going to be ready for next week. He had a little bit of a knee thing that happened in that last game. He was out for one play, I think it was. He just kind of tweaked his knee a little bit. He'll be ready, which would have been a big blow because he is last year he was the interception leader. I think he's tied for second or third this year. Ron Parker, that entire secondary is ready to go. The defensive line is ready to go. That is a scary defense to play against, a frightening defense. And when you have Charkandrick West and Spencer Ware running the ball, you can hand one the ball, he can run right up the middle. The other one, you can throw it out to him in the flat screen pass, and he has fantastic acceleration. This team has several weapons. The only thing that really would bother me is, are they going to unleash them? And that was something that I had talked about at the beginning before the show started. We saw against the Titans, which actually could almost cost Kansas City the division, and very well should have had Derek Carr not gotten hurt. The game against the Titans, they only scored 17 points. They did the same thing against Tampa Bay 2 weeks prior to that. They only scored 17 points. They couldn't get the offense going. They had terrible red zone presence. They're terrible on third downs.
It was almost like Andy Reid got Mike McCarthyism.
He became very conservative. They got killed in the media on their play calling efforts afterwards. The team themselves, the players themselves, were upset. The next two games they come out, they average over 30 points a game. This last game against the Chargers, which, say what you will about the Chargers, their defense is still fairly good. They're a little injured, but their defense has been fairly good. On third down, they were, I want to say 80% or 85% on third down in that game. That is the one thing that Kansas City needs to make sure they focus on improving in this playoff, because I'll tell you right now, if they have to go to Foxborough, which they would, if they got to go to Foxborough and take on the Patriots like they did last year in the AFC Championship, and they can't stay on the field on third down, you may as well just hand Tom Brady the trophy
it's gonna be a long
and wish
day.
him well in the Super Bowl, because you can't keep letting the Patriots get on the field. I don't care how good your defense is. They have guys that can stretch the field out. They also have guys that can pound the ball. The Patriots, with their three-headed running back attack led by LeGarrette Blount, they can keep Kansas City's defense on the field and force them to get tired, cause them to make mistakes. And if you do that, the Patriots will beat you up, and they will beat you up badly. So the methodical way Kansas City can move the ball down the field, which is what they do, they average more plays from the 20-yard line forward. If they start at their own 20, they take more plays than anyone else in the league to get to the end zone in scoring a touchdown. They average 11 plays per drive when starting at the 20. That is more than anybody else in the league. They can move the ball methodically. That is what they will need to do if they play a team like the Patriots. Right now, they need to just make sure they're getting healthy, get ready for whoever wins this Wildcard Weekend and ends up going to Arrowhead. They're going to be hosting a game at Arrowhead Stadium. It is a very tough place to play for opposing teams. Loudest outdoor stadium in the NFL still is a very tough place to play. So they have every reason to be very competitive with New England. They just need to focus on the 1 weak spot, which is keeping that offense rolling like they should.
Yeah,
now,
I look at this and, and again, Andy Reid, I don't know what happened. I mean, like I said, I think he took Mike McCarthy pills. You score 17 points and all of a sudden you say, that's it. Let's just
wrap it up.
Three and out, we'll go home. And it doesn't work that way.
No, not at all.
But how pathetic, really pathetic, is the AFC, playoff picture right now? I mean, when you look at it, once we get to the NFC, we're going to talk 3 or 4 different teams.
Right.
Here we talk 3 teams total. That's it. The other ones aren't even in consideration.
No, not really.
I mean, all you're talking New England, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh. That's it.
Right.
Miami, it was a great season. Yay, thank you. You may get lucky.
Right.
The other 2, why the hell are you even here? Are you actually, 2 of the 6 best teams in there? No, they aren't. They just happen to have a better record, and it's just scary how weak the AFC is this year going into the playoff system. And then you jump over to the NFC.
Now that's a different animal.
It is.
Okay, so let's make this question the same.
Okay.
The Dallas Cowboys are not in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
What team is the favorite to go to the Super Bowl?
And I will let you go first on this one.
This is going to be tough. And it's going to be tough because there are quite a few teams that are very even. When you get past the Cowboys, you get to a lot of teams that are even. When you look at teams that are playing hot, obviously, the Green Bay Packers are number 1 that comes to mind. But then you start looking at the other teams and how they would match up. Really, as far as the teams that can match up against Green Bay and go toe-to-toe with them, really the Giants and the Falcons both look like teams that could go to toe-to-toe with Green Bay, especially when you think that once Green Bay leaves Lambeau Field, if they have to go, say, to Atlanta, they don't get their weather advantage anymore. Now you're going to the Georgia Dome. Now you're playing against Atlanta on their home turf. They're very tough, a very fast team. Matt Ryan right now best quarterback in the NFL statistically, as far as quarterback, what do they call QBR?
To rating, yeah.
Yeah, according to quarterback rating, he is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Topped Tom Brady.
Is he the hottest quarterback right now?
Some statistics say yes. The only one right now the only statistic right now that he doesn't carry is touchdown passes, and that's only because Atlanta's running game is so ridiculously good. Devontae Freeman can grab the ball and run 75 yards at any point. So, I mean, there are a lot of times when you're 20 yards, 15, 20 yards or closer, Matt Ryan just turns around, hands the ball to Devontae Freeman, and it's over. So, I mean, he doesn't need to throw a lot of touchdown passes, but he can. He's very accurate, 75% completion percentage, 80% completion percentage over the last 2 games. He is ridiculously good. And not to mention, that defense is ridiculously good. Roddy White's been playing way better. I mean, I thought he had a great season last year. He's having a great season, even better season this year.
Are we talking offense or defense now?
No, well, I'm bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, okay, because you said Roddy White going, that's wide receiver.
Yeah. I'm bouncing back and forth. I know.
Because their defense actually this year has not been that good.
No, their defense has been keeping them in games, though. A defense that was supposed to be awful has been keeping them in games.
It's been awful.
Yeah, sure. It's been awful, but it's been enough. It's been enough.
That's because they've scored points.
You know, well, and they do. Yeah. I mean, somebody stop them.
But again,
who stops them? Nobody's stopping them. And when you think about it, that is the biggest strength they have is the ability to score points on the outside and score points deep. And once they get past the front 7, once you get into the secondary of opposing teams, Atlanta is just ridiculously good at yards after contact. So once you have that, then you look at a team like Green Bay who is struggling in the secondary. Mm-hmm. You got real problems if Matt Ryan can stay upright, and that offensive line has been doing a great job at doing that all year long. So when you look at teams that can, I'm not saying that there is a runaway favorite. There really is not. There really is not. But I would say teams that are primed and positioned to be the next best thing in the NFC side of the playoffs, I would say Atlanta would definitely be my next choice to go to the playoffs, mostly because of one or two little edges, but they're big enough edges that I think it makes the difference.
The one thing you got to remember, you were comparing, if Green Bay went down to Atlanta, that's only going to happen if it's the NFC Championship game. That's all. I mean, barring that Detroit, unless Detroit beats Seattle out in Seattle, because due to the seeding, with Green Bay being a 4, mm-hmm. and Atlanta being the 2.
Right. Well, remember the structure of the question was no Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. So, even if you take the Dallas Cowboys out, but you still have to look at the seeding.
Right. But that would have eventually put Green Bay up there to meet Atlanta.
But you're getting away from one thing.
What?
That would mean that Atlanta would have to get by Seattle.
I think they could very well do that.
And that's
Seattle. To me, out of all the teams,
I think
that are
Seattle's
in the NFC side of the playoffs, Seattle's the weakest of all the teams. I would easily say that. They can't run the ball. Their defense is full of holes. Those are the two key things you need in the playoffs.
But
they're the weakest team.
Here's the thing: they're going up. And this is where again, the one advantage that they have is that they are Seattle, and they'll play that game in Seattle, and they bring a lot of reputation with them into these games, into the playoffs.
Sure.
And that's one thing that you got to keep in consideration.
And the minute if they were to win that game against Detroit, the minute they win that game, the playing the game at Seattle is over.
Oh, it is.
They have no clout in that area because now they got to go on the road the rest of the season. I
understand. But remember, here's another thing that you got to keep in consideration. We've seen this Atlanta play before us. We've seen the history of the Atlanta team that has been on fire, and the Matt Ryan that's been on fire during the regular season, come into the playoffs and drop a big turd.
Right.
Several times we've seen that happen.
Right.
I think that Matt Ryan has had a fantastic season, and if Aaron Rodgers is the MVP, it's going to be Matt Ryan. Those are your two top people for MVP this year.
Right.
I mean, bar hold none. But the thing is that we've seen this thing. We've seen Atlanta in the past. We've seen what they've done. We've seen them basically drop an egg every time they've come into the playoffs. I'll tell you, name me the last time Atlanta's been to the Super Bowl. You can't, because they've never been there.
Right.
Because the teams that they had that were great. Remember the team that a couple of years ago, Ryan was thrown all over the place, and they were doing so great. Who did they get beat by? Do you remember? Green Bay beat them down in Atlanta. That was a team that was the year Green Bay won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Atlanta remember, Green Bay came as the 6th seed.
Right.
They won their first game, then they went down to Atlanta because Atlanta was the number 1 seed in the NFC that year. And
if I remember right, they were 15-1.
And Green Bay clocked them.
Right.
So, I mean, the thing is when we get to these playoffs, it comes down to what's your attitude. Are you set up? It's one game against one game.
One thing to remember, and you talked about that game. If I remember correctly, that was Matt Ryan's first playoff game.
I don't believe so.
I think it was.
Well,
that was his first playoff game, because remember, that was his sophomore season.
And
the first year.
And the thing is it could have been. He hasn't won a playoff game yet.
Right. But my point is that team was this team, but very young. They've got a couple of years on them now.
No, it's not the same team.
No, I know obviously there are pieces. You don't have guys like Tony Gonzalez and stuff like that there anymore. There are pieces that have changed, but the core members of this team, the driving force behind this team is still there. They're a couple of years later, they're a few years older, they've played together more. I don't think they're going to walk into an NFC championship game. If they get that far, if they get to an NFC championship game, I don't think they're going to walk in there with the game too big for them, with the game too fast for them anymore. I don't think they're going to be the same way that we've seen them in the past. I just don't think so, because they've been there, they've seen it now, and they realize that game is not bigger than any of the other games. It's not faster. It's not any different. It's the same game. And it's like the old scene out of Hoosiers where they're measuring the rim.
Right. Yeah. It's 10 feet here, 10 feet. Yep.
10 feet there. And it's the same way. And when the time comes, and we see them in the divisional playoff, I really think you're going to see an Atlanta team that looks like the Atlanta team we've seen all year.
See, and I think that this is just another rerun of what we've seen in the past, and I think it's unfortunately for Atlanta Falcon fans, and I'll be honest with you, this is the last year for the Atlanta Dome down there, right?
Right.
I saw the first football game played in the Atlanta Dome, which was an exhibition game between Philadelphia and Atlanta.
Okay.
I was actually in attendance there.
Okay.
And Atlanta fans are unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I lived down there for a while. Unbelievable. Just rabid fans.
Right.
But I think this is the same storybook, the same players, and unfortunately I see the same result coming out of this. I think that the team other than Dallas that you look as a favorite is whoever wins the game between Green Bay and New York. I think those are your two hot teams coming in. Those are the two teams that I think have the moxie, and they have the ability, and they have the playmakers that can actually take on and get through the NFC. I don't trust Dallas. Yes, they had the best record. I don't trust those rookies once we hit the playoffs. I just don't. I don't think that they're the strength. I think right now, as veteran as they are, I think between the Giants and the Packers, whoever wins that game, I think that is your favorite to come out of the NFC.
So narrow me down here. Well, no, you know what? Wait. Don't do it because we're gonna give her. Well, no, because that means by default you're gonna give me your pick for that game. I don't want to do that. We're gonna do that a little bit later. So you know what? We'll go with that. We're just gonna go with that.
Okay.
So you're picking whoever wins that.
I think whoever wins that game
outside of Dallas is gonna be your favorite to go to the Super Bowl. So,
right.
There you go.
But the only thing is, it's unfortunate you want me to pick the game because I'm going to pick with my heart, not my head on that.
No, you're an analyst. I trust you to pick with your head. I know I'm lying through my teeth.
You're lying through your teeth right now.
I trust you to pick with your head.
And
I trust. Yeah, I trust you to pick with your head.
Don't. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I really do. I think that of all the games this week, the last game of the weekend, I think is going to be the best. Bar none. I think that is going to be a game. But I understand what you're saying about Atlanta. Atlanta's had a great year. Matt Ryan has had a phenomenal year. They've had some pieces that have been hurt, but I don't trust their defense. Their defense isn't that good. You get a hiccup going on, and that's all it takes is one hiccup. You have a guy that's all of a sudden a little bit nervous. He's throwing a little bit too much. He's grabbing that football a little bit tighter. And that's the whole change of the season. One bad game kicks you out of the playoffs. Okay? Doesn't kick you out of the regular season, but it sure as hell kicks you out of the playoffs.
Right.
So, it'll be interesting. It really will be. But I definitely think that the NFC games this week far superior than the AFC games. I think, overall talent, the NFC just whomps the AFC. Does that mean that the best team in the playoffs is in the NFC? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. And does it mean the NFC has no shot to win the Super Bowl? I'm not saying that either.
Well, when you look at both sides of the Super Bowl bracket here, when you're looking at both the AFC and the NFC playoffs, the NFC is far more convoluted than the AFC. But when you look at the AFC side, just a thing to note: the three teams at the top. And I know it's pretty much a 3-team race at this point.
Oh, yeah.
The three teams at the top, you could make a case for any of them. Absolutely any of them. I can
only make a case for two of them, and that's it. To get through,
So you don't think Pittsburgh?
I don't
because no. I'm sure that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, right? I think you have New England and Kansas City, and that's it.
Really?
I really do. Pittsburgh, I love Le'Veon Bell. I love how he's performed the last couple of weeks, how he's really come on. I just don't see Pittsburgh as a team that's going to challenge them. I'm one of the guys, I actually agree with what Terry Bradshaw said, about Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike Tomlin's a good coach. Never have. I think he's a good cheerleader. He's a good disciplinarian. I think he's more of a thug, though. I've watched Pittsburgh, and I love the Pittsburgh Steelers. I loved watching them. But I think they've turned into a team of thugs, really. Of cheap shots, of just, dirty play from about the last 5 or 6 years in.
Well, a lot of people do remember the Mike Tomlin scene where he stepped in front of a player,
tripped him.
Yeah, that's what it was. He tripped a player on the field.
Yeah. I mean, you take a look at Harrison, you take a look at Timmons, you take a look at some of these guys that have come down. That whole division, and I'll put Marvin Lewis right in there too with what Cincinnati has done down there.
Right.
I mean, these are two thug teams. I think they're the dirtiest teams in football. There's a couple other ones that are real close to them. I think Seattle's another one that is in that category. But they're teams that they got strong defenses and blah blah. They got dirty defenses.
This is true, and they have been. I mean, some of the penalties that should be called are not.
No.
In their cases.
And I think most of that goes out towards reputation rather than, I can't, he's a great defensive player. They say he's a great defensive player. That had to be a great defensive play.
Right.
And it's a shame that, we've come down there. But I think in the AFC, I think you've got two teams, sir. That's it, Kansas City and New England.
Well, I mean, that's if it's a 2-horse race, it doesn't make it as interesting. But as a Chiefs fan, I guess I'm not.
Well, no, you shouldn't.
All right, we got to get to a break. When we come back on the proverbial eve of college football's biggest game, one major shakeup for one of its contestants. Plus, do the Cleveland Cavaliers finally have an answer for the running with the I almost said that, the running with the Western Conference.
Wow.
Let me just completely destroy this tease.
You want to start that over again?
I think I'm just going to take a steel chair to this tease and blow it up because that was horrible. All right, let's try this again.
You had my eyes wide open.
Wow. Do the Cavaliers have an answer for the Western Conference in the NBA when it comes to competition this year? They got one bigger piece today, and we're going to talk about that on the other side of this. You're listening to the Cheap Seats on XERS Radio.
What's up, y'all? It's Jason Roos from Velvet Jones, and I listen to XERS Radio.
Hey, this is Kelly Sue Dennis, the voice of the Michiana scene on XERS Radio. Join me on Monday nights at 6 o'clock in Pleasant Valley. We welcome in local musicians, listen to their stories, and play their tunes. If you want to know what's happening for the week, tune in to XERSradio.com. And remember, it's a world live radio, baby. Do what you love and love what you do. Monday nights with Kelly Sue.
Option 5, located in Mishawaka, Indiana, specializes in hand-built boutique guitar effects pedals. Option 5 has been producing the highest quality pedals right here in northern Indiana since 2002, and they continue to create original, non-copy designs today. Option 5 is not simply tweaking popular pedals and then slapping their name on them. They're producing groundbreaking effects designed for guitarists of all styles. And Option 5 doesn't just build cool pedals. They provide top-notch repair service as well. Option 5 repairs pedals and PA equipment, can modify and retube amplifiers, and service or repair Hammond organs and Leslie speakers. If you're looking for the highest quality effects pedals and the best in repair and customer service, check out Option 5 in Mishawaka at 1126 East Jefferson. Give them a call at 574-255-6539 or online at option5effects.com. That's option5effects.com. Option 5. Let tone abound.
Since 1980, Mr. G's has been serving up good food, good drinks, and great times. Located at 708 Lincoln Way West in the heart of Osceola. They are open 364 days a year with live music on the weekends and food and drink specials every day. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, and check out their website at
MrGofOC.com.
Stop in every Thursday for a world-famous prime rib or to watch your favorite sports events on their many HD TVs. Smoking is allowed, so you must be 21 or over.
The Cheap Seats on XERS Radio. We're back for hour 2. And we're going to kick it in gear. College football right around the corner. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. The NBA being one of them. Big piece to the Cavaliers this past couple of days. The deal's supposed to be complete tomorrow. And the biggest Cleveland Cavalier of all doesn't like it. And I'm going to tell you about all that here in just a little bit. But then we have some bigger news going on. College football's big playoff game, the national championship game, is coming up very shortly. It's, what is it, Monday?
Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night.
Monday night.
Alabama.
Monday.
That's right. And, of course, it is college football's championship game, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama Crimson Tide, rumbling, stumbling down the field.
As old Keith Jackson would say, God, I miss him. And
as long as you don't miss Brent Musburger.
What the heck?
It's hard. I heard that.
Dude,
what
I
was
don't
that?
even know. That's,
it's a ghost in your phone.
Dude, my ESPN app just popped open from nowhere.
That's because it was Keith Jackson rumbling, bubbling. Come on, take it on down there, Stevie boy.
Bumble. Let me tell you about this. Okay, here we go. So Alabama and Clemson going at it. Round 2. Alabama Clemson Part 2, Round 2.
Yes, it's a repeat. It's a rematch of last year's game.
Yes.
In which Alabama won, though it was a very, very close game last year.
Now, you would think that would be the storyline going into this game. You would think that Clemson beating out Ohio State to make it to the national championship might be a storyline.
And what was the score of that game? Because for all you Ohio State fans out there, can you remember?
Well,
31-0. Does that sound about right?
That was a whooping. As Keith Jackson was said,
there was some ass kicking out there, is what he would say.
Keith Jackson was said, well, they took him out to the woodshed on that one.
Took him out behind the woodshed. I did.
They certainly did.
Well, Stevie boy.
Well, you would think that would have been the story.
I would think.
You'd think Nick Saban looking for another national championship to pass Bear Bryant would be another. That'd be the story.
Or you think Deshaun Watson maybe making up for what happened last year during the final and leading and willing this Clemson team to a victory.
You would think that would be the story. What's the big story going into the national championship game? Lane Kiffin gets fired a week before the national championship game, leaves Alabama to take a job at FAU, leaves before the national championship game. Now the story goes, if you ask Nick Saban and you ask Lane Kiffin,
who do you ask? That's the thing.
It depends on who you ask. If you ask Lane Kiffin, Lane Kiffin chose to leave for the good of the kids. Told Nick Saban, I need to leave the program for the good of the kids, for their offense to be better. And Steve Sarkisian is going to pick up the keys on the offense while Lane Kiffin is gone.
Is he going to be sober this time?
Yeah, I hope so. So Sarkisian is going to take over the offensive play calling in the national championship game, and Lane Kiffin sat down with Nick Saban, according to Lane Kiffin, and told Nick, I need to leave the program. You guys need to go to the national championship game without me. Told ESPN's Mike and Mike in the Morning, I would be coaching that game if I wanted to coach that game. You ask Nick Saban, that's not how it went down. No. Nick Saban says he was released. He was relieved of duties. The offense was struggling. They were failing under his tutelage. There were a lot of mistakes, and legally he could not coach that game.
Too many distractions.
Who do you believe?
Well, here's the thing. Lane Kiffin has just been such a, just an outstanding and upstanding young man, all the way from, the Oakland Raiders to the Tennessee Volunteers to the USC Trojans on to Alabama, on to taking the Florida Atlantic job, 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah, he's always told the total truth. He's never hedged and told someone that, hey, I'm going to be at Tennessee for your whole time. Oh, 1 year later, let me go. I'm going to go out to USC. He's never fibbed at all. He's never told an untruth. I know that because I've watched that career.
Because he told you so, right?
That's right. That's right. Now Lane Kiffin, boy oh boy, a brilliant mind. Maybe one day he'll get the maturity to become a brilliant coach. I think he's a great coordinator. He's a great assistant, and that's about as far as I wouldn't have him on my team because I wouldn't be able to, stop from looking around to see where the hell he was at, and knowing he's going to be standing behind me with a knife somewhere along the line. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, Steve. I really am. This marriage. Now, I'm trying to figure out what Nick Saban sees in USC retreads to keep bringing them into it and bring them down to Alabama. I don't know if he feels like he's the savior or not. Let me be the savior of Lane Kiffin's career. Now I'm going to be the savior of Steve Sarkisian's career. I don't know, but it's amazing that you go into this game and the biggest news is that we're going to release our assistant head coach, or associate head coach, something like that. He was right. He was like number 2 in charge. We're going to leave him and let him go. This is the guy that called all our plays this year. This is the guy that worked with our freshman quarterback and did what he did and called the game that he did. Mm-hmm. Yes, you had a bad game, and what they're upset about is during that game they had a young man that was running the ball like a wild house. I'm just going crazy, but they didn't hand it off to him time after time after time after time. They actually threw the ball. Right. And that's not what Nick Saban wanted. Nick Saban said, I just wanted you to keep feeding the beast, and you didn't. Mm-hmm. So we don't need you. You're a distraction now. And I understand what he's saying, because I think that there was nothing more for Lane Kiffin to gain. Nothing. He got his head coaching gig. He's going to go down to Florida Atlantic. He's going to take over. He's going to have his chance to do his own thing. He's already won a championship at Alabama. Mm-hmm. This wasn't going to do anything for him. It wasn't going to get him a better shot at a better school, because there's no school out there other than Florida Atlantic that's going to take a chance on him, or a team like that will take a chance on him. So like I said, I'm surprised it lasts as long as it did. I mean, the dynamics between the two men are totally different.
Well, here's the way I see it. Lane Kiffin has been the king of easily distracted.
They should write a song about that.
All right, when he got fired from the Raiders, it was the same thing. When he left Tennessee, it was the same thing. There's always drama with him. Mm-hmm. When he got fired from USC, hell, they fired him on the tarmac. Didn't even let him take the plane home with the team. It's always he chases other opportunities. But see, what's the funny part about it? He goes the wrong way. Usually you see coaches go from a position coach at a smaller school or a head coach at a smaller school to a position coach at a larger school to head coach at a larger school, and then finally as a coach in the NFL. That's usually the way you see the transition.
That's usually the path.
He went the exact opposite way. He started as a head coach in the NFL and then a head coach at Division I universities to a coordinator at Division I university, and now he's becoming a head coach at a Division II school. He's going the wrong way. Yeah. You're going the wrong way. It makes no sense to me why. It makes no sense to me why all of a sudden now look at the other jobs that are open. Okay, he wanted another head coaching job. That's fine, but why didn't he get one at a Division I school? It's not for a lack of coaching jobs.
No, and I'll tell you why.
Purdue. There are a lot of schools out there that need head coaches. Why didn't he get one of those jobs? Because everybody knows that phone calls are made behind the scenes about coaches. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you believe. You know, and I know, if you're going to hire somebody and put them in charge of your program, you are going to make sure that you know not everything you can get by asking them, but you also everything you can get by asking people they've worked with. And I guarantee phone calls were made to Nick Saban about Lane Kiffin, and that's exactly why he's not taking the job at Oregon, or he wasn't given an opportunity to take the job at Purdue, or he wasn't given an opportunity to take the job at Minnesota, or any of these other schools, any of these other Division I schools that need a head coach right now. That is why he's going to Florida Atlantic. Hell, there were other schools in Conference USA that he could have went to. Better schools in Conference USA that he went to. But they didn't want him. Why didn't they want him?
Well, I can tell you why they didn't want him. Who trusts him?
Nobody.
I mean, that's the point.
That's
what I mean. Here's the thing. Lane Kiffin wants to be the head guy. You know, he went to Alabama. He swallowed what little pride that he has, and he doesn't have much. He has a big ego, no pride.
Right.
He went down to Alabama because Nick Saban felt, hey, I'll bring you in. I'll go ahead and I'll work with you. You got a great mind. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can get you to the point to where you will be someone that another coach or another school will want. Let me help you out. As someone in the coaching profession, let me help you out.
Right.
And Lane Kiffin, basically, he was down there. I mean, it was, like I said, it was amazing. You sat there and go, how are they surviving? I mean, everything you hear and you see, you just go, wow, how is this still going? And finally this year, I mean, it got to a point, there were no other teams that were going to come and take him.
Right.
There was no Division I school that wants to take a chance on him, because who wants to hire a guy, give him a nice salary? And the thing is, he's not going to come in for 1 year. He's going to come in for 3 or 4 years. When you tie him in for 3 to 4 years, you're stuck with him. And after year one, he's going to be looking the other way. In fact, during year one, he's going to be looking at other jobs. You know, his concern over your school, over your program, has totally turned off. Why would an AD want to take on that? You know, he himself is going to have to go down to a Division II school. He's going to have to show that he can work a team and build it up. Do you see him moving up to a different Division I in the next year or two? No, I don't. He's going to have to be down there for anywhere between 3 to 4 years and show that he can run a program for more than a year and be successful at it for more than a year before anyone's going to take a chance on him. And then the school that's going to take a chance on him is going to be a team like a MAC school or a second-tier level Division I school.
Right, exactly.
No major school is going to take him on. You know, like you said, coaches talk. Universities talk. I mean, ADs talk to other coaches. They ask what's going on. You know, if you don't think it's a brotherhood, it is. You know, here's the thing. You know, we're seeing this also again. You know, let's turn our direction a little bit further north. Let's go up to Minnesota, where the Golden Gophers fired Tracy Claeys, who was the coach up there, who took over for Jerry Kill when Jerry Kill left the program.
Right.
Remember Minnesota? They had 10 players that were going to be kicked off the team over, what was it, a sexual assault case?
Yeah.
And you know, the team said they're going to protest this because they wanted to get a fair, you know, a fair hearing and so forth.
Right.
And the coach came out and supported the players. He did not support the team, you know, did not support the school or anything else.
Right.
And as soon as that game was over, what did the school do? They fired the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't work for them. You work for us. Now, here's the thing. Does Tracy Claeys, I mean, he took the Golden Gophers to a bowl the last 2 years. Do you see Tracy Claeys getting a job offer soon?
I think that whole thing in Minnesota with the players protesting, that whole bit, I think everything that went down there, that really hurt his chances of getting another spot somewhere.
Oh, I agree. I mean, did he do the wrong thing? I don't think so. You know, I think the thing is,
you know,
though,
it's so hard to tell somebody that your social issue or anything that you believe in socially that you should do one way or another. There is no people are going to react how they're going to react.
What he did wrong was, I mean, it's a sexual assault case.
Right.
Okay? I'm not going to support someone that's being accused of sexual assault. Yes, they haven't been convicted.
Right, exactly.
And he came out and supported this. And how you do that, I mean, that's, that could be your daughter, that could be my daughter over there. How can you then look at people in the eye and say, okay, here we go. I support. What do you mean you support that? I don't want. Those are kids that are in school that they're getting free rides. They're getting free scholarships. They're getting all this stuff free. Why are they there?
Right.
So I mean, is Tracy Claeys going to get another job offer? I think he's going to have to do the Lane Kiffin job.
He'll get something somewhere, and he'll have to work his way back.
I think he'll be a coordinator somewhere.
I think in this particular case, players, all right, when you're a head coach, you love these kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right, these players are your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You take a personal responsibility to these kids. When something like this happens, you automatically want to side with your kids. If Zach would have ever done anything, now I would never suggest that he would do something like this. Please don't get me wrong.
No, I understand what you're saying.
If Zach did something, or he was accused of doing something wrong, your first instinct is to side with your son. Am I right? Your first instinct is to protect your son.
There's a little bit difference, though. I am Zach's father.
Right. I get
Tracy
this.
Claeys is not their father.
I get this. I get what you're saying, but just kind of bear with me.
No. I
bear
understand.
with me on
I understand.
This
Yes. I support him.
Your instinct, your instinct is to support your son.
But I also show support to that woman and their family.
And I absolutely am. I am not arguing with you on this. Trust me. You and I we believe the same thing here.
Yes.
And I'm just let me follow me to my point.
I got you.
Now, when it comes right down to it, of course he is supporting his players. But there is a time for you to say, look, I love you guys. I've been teaching you guys for 4 years. We've spent lots of time together. We are family. But you may have done wrong. I need to be with the school on this because they are not looking out for just you. They are looking out for everybody. You, this young lady, everybody. They're looking out for I need to hear them out first. You guys throwing out this protest, it's a player generated thing. It is not something that, in my opinion, it didn't have a whole lot of grounds.
No.
And Minnesota's rules, the university's rules are, if there is a player that has any kind of civil issue or legal issue that comes up, especially a Scully player, they are suspended immediately until at which time it gets resolved, and they're either suspended permanently or reinstated. One of the two. But that that's the order in which they do things. That's the order in which the university does things. He needed to side with the university on this. I hate to say it, but that was kind of, and I know I'm sounding like the person that I just said you shouldn't be, but in this particular case, he had to side with the university on this.
Well,
and the fact that he chose not to immediately says he has no respect for the university rules. He's more interested in keeping his players so he can continue to win. And that's the very first thing that comes to your mind. And when you say that, you say things like, how much has he let go? And how much has he looked the other way on because he's interested in keeping his players and letting them win? So you at this point, it just raises a red flag and says, hey, if you're more willing to ignore our university's rules and worry about the players so much. Now it makes us wonder, what other rules are you willing to ignore in hopes of keeping your players?
The problem here is Tracy Claeys, not that he supported his players, but he ignored the fact of what happened. He ignored the victim. He ignored that. It was, I support my players in this, and they need to get, they need to get a good hearing. Okay. What about support for the system? What about the support, for this poor young girl for what she went through?
And you're elaborating. You're actually elaborating right on my point.
Right. I mean,
that is my exact point.
Where was this? And that's the problem.
The fact that he was supporting his players was exactly that, turning his back on the school, turning his back on the system, and turning his back on, of course, the alleged victim. So there are a lot of reasons why Claeys made mistakes that should have cost him his job. I mean, we are right there. We're totally in agreement on this. I mean, obviously, we're in total agreement on this. I think we're saying the same thing, just two different ways.
Yes. And now let's move a little bit further south, though, Steve.
Yes.
Let's go down Oklahoma way. We're on New Year's Day. We have a young man that plays that we talked about before, and then we have an announcer, a very venerable and decorated announcer, says, "Hey, it's okay. He paid his dues and blah 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 blah. I wish him the best of luck and blah." Whoa. Time out.
Sometimes you and you and I have been caught doing this. Sometimes you just try and say something, and you want to say something to just try and close the door and move on, and you just want to be done. And I think that was the case of this. I think it was a poor choice of words. Who was that?
Brent Musburger.
Brent Musburger. It was a poor choice of words. And I really think if Brent Musburger thinks about it, he would agree that it was probably a poor choice of words, a poor thing to convey.
But the problem is he not only did it once, he did it twice, and he came back to it, make it specific, and got angry about people being upset with him for what he said. That was the problem. In that broadcast, he not only said, and we're talking about Joe Mixon down in Oklahoma, who actually played, that after everything going on, Oklahoma still had this young man out there playing.
Mm-hmm.
And Brent Musburger made light of it, basically said, "Hey, it's all done. They did this, they did this, they did this." Mm-hmm. No, why is this kid still playing? And then Brent had the nerve to come back after the analyst said, "Well, wait a minute, blah, blah, blah," to come back and get angry and reiterate his point and try and back it up even more and say, "No, he's done everything, blah, let him go. Good luck to you in your future. You're going to be great." And to me, your future's not in the NFL. And your future's not going to be in professional football. So, good luck to that. Your future should be in jail. That's where you should be. And unfortunately, this was another school that, unlike Minnesota, which I think did the correct thing, the university, they took a stand one way. The University of Oklahoma took a stand the other way, which is totally incorrect.
Right.
They took the stand for Tracy Claeys. Maybe Tracy Claeys ends up down in Oklahoma because obviously they have no problem, with ignoring this other person. So, hey, Tracy, Mr. Claeys, please, why don't you go ahead and put your resume in down Oklahoma? Maybe that'll be accepted because it seems to be like an acceptable kind of thing down that way.
Right. And of course, Oklahoma, completely ignoring the domestic violence charges against Joe Mixon and allowing him to play in their bowl game. That to me is a huge black eye on the university, but it also is very telling as to how important football is to Oklahoma over the idea of this one young lady's unfortunate plight as a result of the hands of their star running back, who, of course, Joe Mixon now is going to attempt to go into the NFL draft, and I don't believe any team is going to touch this young man. I think he's gonna he's going to struggle to find a team that'll take him as a practice player or a walk-on to training camp or anything like that. I don't see him, outside of holding a pro day, I don't see him being on a football field again. No. So it's a sad thing, it really is. So we've got to get, holy moly, the time just flew by. I'm not even ready. What are we doing? Oh, my goodness. The NBA is up next. We've got, just on the other side of this, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know I teased it earlier, but I got to get to it now. The Cleveland Cavaliers have, they're working out a deal. The deal should be done by tomorrow for their answer to the Western Conference in the NBA playoffs, and one of the biggest Cavaliers is not happy about it. And I'm going to tell you about that just on the other side of this. You're listening to the Cheap Seats on XERS Radio.
Life is meant to be savor. If you find the reason, Morgan's and the Little Black Dog Tavern in downtown Mishawaka, Indiana will make it special. From the casual European atmosphere to the high-end tavern fare, Morgan's and the Little Black Dog Tavern give you the chance to savor every day. Stop in and savor your day with your choice of a wide variety of drinks, from a classic martini to the best beers from local breweries. Savor your day on the patio, or come in and enjoy a glass of wine with some of our mouth-watering entrees. We're located in the historic Cam Brewery Stable Building in the 100 Center in downtown Mishawaka, Indiana. Call 574-807-0101 for reservations. Like us on Facebook to find out today's food and drink specials, or stop by our website at morgansandlbd.com. Drink in the moments, feast on the memories, savor every day at Morgan's and the Little Black Dog Tavern.
Option 5, located in Mishawaka, Indiana, specializes in hand-built boutique guitar effects pedals. Option 5 has been producing the highest quality pedals right here in northern Indiana since 2002, and they continue to create original, non-copy designs today. Option 5 is not simply tweaking popular pedals and then slapping their name on them. They're producing groundbreaking effects designed for guitarists of all styles. And Option 5 doesn't just build cool pedals. They provide top-notch repair service as well. Option 5 repairs pedals and PA equipment, can modify and retube amplifiers, and service or repair Hammond organs and Leslie speakers. If you're looking for the highest quality effects pedals and the best in repair and customer service, check out Option 5 in Mishawaka at 1126 East Jefferson. Give them a call at 574-255-6539 or online at option5effects.com. That's option5fx.com. Option 5. Let tone abound.
Have you heard those two wacky guys, Chris and Ginn, on the Life is Art Also show? They share their favorite songs and their future favorites too. They have live interviews with authors, comedians, artists, and musicians, and lots more. They also have a Word of the Week with Mad Dog Ho, the official lexicographer of Internet Radio. Tune in every Thursday, 6 p.m. on xers.com.
And we are back to Cheap Seats on XERS Radio. If you missed any of the show, you can check it out right after the show ends. Within a couple of minutes, anyway. It's up on Spreaker and iHeartRadio. Check it out. iHeartRadio. Just go follow the iHeartRadio icon right on your phone, your tablet, your iPad, the new Droid you got for Christmas, whatever. Go to iHeartRadio.com on your laptop. Check it out there. And
also be up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, search the Cheap Seats on iHeartRadio and download the show, or just listen streaming on demand. You can check out any of the shows right there. iHeartRadio. Go over there. Check it out. iHeartRadio, Clear Channel Media Company. So, we were going through something, and maybe, just maybe, there is hope for Joe Mixon, and we were just talking about it. Tyreek Hill, of course, the fantastic wide receiver / kick returner for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had his own domestic violence problems. We were just talking about
down
that.
in Oklahoma also. Oklahoma State
that was
this time.
Oklahoma State, yes.
But the difference is Oklahoma State, they dismissed him from the team.
Yeah, they released him.
Now, I remember when Tyreek Hill was drafted, Andy Reid actually, and they talked about it, he had to get special, he had to actually go to the team owners and everything else and vouch for him and sit there and really push to get this kid drafted. So there's a lot of work that they did a lot of work. I mean, the thing is, Tyreek Hill took anger management classes. He took some other things as part of his plea agreement.
Right.
So I mean, is there hope? Yeah, there is.
Right.
Would I touch him? No, I wouldn't.
No. It's funny though that this does not come out about Tyreek Hill. You don't hear this all the time. So I mean, sometimes it does go, but there is another difference too. There was no video of Tyreek Hill doing this.
Whapping the crap out of somebody.
There was no video of this.
No.
If you notice, the ones that you get to see on video, those seem to be the ones that drive us a little bit further. The Ray Rice incident we got to see on video.
It becomes more real.
The Joe Mixon incident we got to see on video. And when you get that video and you consume that video and your brain gets to register what just happened, boy, that changes things. It really does. It changes things. Well, and it makes you think differently. It becomes, like you just said, it becomes more real.
I think the thing is when we hear these things, we instantly go, oh my God, that's bad, and we try not to believe it. We try to say, no, that couldn't have happened. Maybe something else happened, but then when you see it, I mean, you actually see it, it becomes real.
Well, and I think what you gravitate to in the mind's eye is a little more PG version of what you actually get to see on raw video. Unfortunately, maybe fortunately.
Life is not PG though.
Yeah, but maybe fortunately, I guess would be the way to say, most of us can't visually picture ourselves punching somebody else in the face or something like that. Like a guy punching a woman in the face. Most of us men just don't. We can't really visualize that because it's not built into us to do that. We're the protector of our women, not the beater of them. So that to me, I think is part of it. And then when we do get to actually see it, even though we've heard about it and we can, kind of maybe see it, but not really well. But then all of a sudden we see it on video and it's like, oh my, that is far worse than I could have imagined. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is what makes it more real. And I think that when you look at what happened with Ray Rice, he's not the first person to have hit his fiance, girlfriend, wife, whatever. He's not the first person to have done that in the NFL, but all of a sudden he is ostracized unlike anyone else that has ever been.
Yeah, because we got to see it.
And now we have Joe Mixon, who we just got done talking about Tyreek Hill and how he is in the NFL. But here's Joe Mixon, and we got to see that video, and now the circle comes around to him. And the question is, will he even ever be taken in the NFL draft? Will he be taken as a walk-on in a training camp? Will a team allow him to play with their team? Why would we even ask those questions? Because we saw the video. We got to see him do exactly what happened. So there's a factor there that a lot of people look at and they're like, well, how can you say this about Joe Mixon where you couldn't say it about somebody like Tyreek Hill, or you couldn't say it about somebody like what was the player for the Cowboys? I'm trying to remember. domestic violence charges. I can't remember now. Anyhow, defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. He just came back from, the 49ers had one.
Yeah,
too.
Young.
Yeah, and why not these guys? Because nobody ever got to see it, and there's a big difference there. Anyhow, moving on, the Cleveland Cavaliers finally get a piece that I think is going to really put them over the top to compete offensively against teams like Golden State with Kevin Durant now, helping that team just light scoreboards up all across America. And they do it much to the chagrin, I should say, of one LeBron James. They go out and get Kyle Korver from the Atlanta Hawks in a move that is supposed to be, the deal is supposed to be done by the end of the day tomorrow. Once this gets done, I think it really, really helps out their offense. Kyle Korver, an excellent shooter. You can put him anywhere on the court. I think he can play well. He's a forward. He can transition to guard. He could transition to guard pretty well, I would say. He's not too big, and he's an excellent shooter. So I think that puts him at a shooting guard position. Ball handling is good. It's not great, but it's good. Good enough to be shooting guard. Probably not good enough to be point guard, but definitely good enough to be shooting guard. One LeBron James, not very happy about it, said for the last time, and I quote, "For the last time, I still say we need a point guard." And that being said, it makes me wonder if this is a shot across the bow to the front office of the Cavaliers saying, find a point guard, or my time here is limited.
Yeah, and I understand that, and LeBron pretty much gets what LeBron wants. So take a look for that to happen. Now, Kyle Korver himself. Yeah, as I talked, we talked a little bit in the break. Kyle Korver's a nice shooting forward. He can move out to the guard position, but if you are looking for that point guard, that's not the guy. I don't think he has the ball skills. But as we discussed, Kyle Korver is someone that can take that reign for a little while when needed to give Kyrie Irving the well-deserved break that he needs. Kyrie Irving, as we've seen over the last couple of years, he can be injury prone, and most of that comes from playing way too many minutes at a position that is very, very demanding. And you need to have more than one point guard to run, an efficient offense, especially if you want to be up-tempo a little bit, because you can't just keep running up and down the court without having someone else in there. You will have that break.
Right.
So, I have no, I understand what LeBron is saying.
Right.
Yes, it's nice to have a caliber position like Kyle Korver on the team, but that's not what we need.
Well, and here's what you're looking at. When you're looking at their front five, and you got J.R. Smith and Kyrie Irving at the guard position, and you're dealing with, obviously the Kyrie Irving injury now, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder why LeBron would be so sticky about the idea of a guard. Is he that worried that with Kyrie, being on the shelf for a little while, is there going to be a problem? Because you still have guys that are serviceable. They do have a fair amount of guards on the team. They aren't real deep at guard. DeAndre Liggins, Jordan McRae, Mo Williams. Obviously, got a lot of miles on them legs there, and Mo Williams, 13th year out of Alabama.
And those other guys just go who?
Well, DeAndre Liggins, Jordan McRae, give him a chance. He's a rookie. DeAndre Liggins, though, his 1 year at Kentucky, he had an opportunity to really make something happen. Iman Shumpert, obviously the only other guard they got, and to me, that's not a lot of help.
No.
So I can understand why he would say, "Hey, we need to get another guard." But the cool thing about Korver, like I said, he can come in and play guard. He can play point guard or shooting guard rather, not point guard.
Yeah,
he can play shooting guard and give J.R. Smith a minute. You know, Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Liggins, Jordan McRae, they're all point guards.
Yeah,
they are.
But it's a big drop.
It's not that big a drop from J.R. Smith to Kyle Korver. It's not as big as what you think.
I'm talking for Kyrie Irving to the other two guys. You know, and I think that's a
it is.
I think that's a concern that LeBron has is that if they lose Kyrie Irving like they did a couple of years ago,
right?
Now what?
But it is. But I mean,
they bring in Dragan Zubac. They don't have him anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have Jimmy Butlers growing on trees. You know what I'm saying? There is no point guard tree, and you can just pluck point guards out. Point guards
where
really
Jeremy Lin at now?
Really great point. Yeah.
About plucking somebody out. That's there's a guy.
Really great point guards. Like if you want to try,
you don't need a great point guard, but you need an upgrade from what you have.
But my point is, You can't go out and ask for a lateral step from Kyrie Irving. He's one of the best point guards in the game, much less the Eastern Conference. So you can't do that. However, what you can do is when you look at forwards, and you look at LeBron James, Tristan Thompson, being your two key forwards. Of course, Richard Jefferson and James Jones, Mike Dunleavy, those are the rest of your forwards. And Mike Dunleavy, once again, could play guard if they had to. Kyle Korver coming in, being able to play that guard or forward position, that is a great transition position.
But you still have to bring to the point to Kyrie Irving that to save his future career and to extend it a little bit more, he needs to reduce some of his minutes. But you have to be able, when you reduce those minutes, you have to be able to bring in something that has, not such a big drop off as they have right now.
Well, I've got to be honest. If my starting five is Kevin Love, LeBron James, Tristan Thompson, Kyle Korver, and J.R. Smith, I'm not complaining. If the difference between Kyrie Irving and Kyle Korver is that bad that you can't make up for it with those other four guys,
I still got to get the ball up the court. I still have to get the ball dished around. It's a little bit. I mean, as the point guard, you're the playmaker. J.R. Smith is not used to that role. He doesn't. I mean, that's not the role that he plays. It's not the role he likes. I don't see Kyle Korver in that role either. They're more the guy off the side. I'm busting open to try and get a shot.
If it really comes down to it, if it comes down to it, trust me, you could play with Korver.
Well, I put it this way, whenever you put LeBron on a team, you've got a team that can go as far as it is. And the thing is that they will not have a problem in the Eastern Conference.
Well,
there's no one over there that even contests with them.
Look, here's the way I'm looking at it. LeBron James he's in his 13th year.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got about 5 years to go before he's going to start thinking about hanging it up.
In
those,
maybe not that long.
I don't know, 18 years, that'd be a long time. 5 years, I think, somebody that's as good as what he is and as good as when remember, he came right out of high school. So it's not like he even had a year or two of college. He came right out of high school. So 5 years from now, he's only looking to be in his early 30s. Older by basketball terms, but still by LeBron James terms, he's still going to be able to play with a lot of guys. Almost all of them.
But here's the difference. I mean, let's take a look at the Warriors lineup.
But hold on, in that 5 years, he's trying to maximize how many championships he can. And I think the idea of what the Warriors are doing right now, especially by getting Kevin Durant, really scares him.
Yeah.
I think it scares their chances.
Well, that's because you drop from, you take, Steph Curry out, you bring in Sean Livingston. You have a drop, but it's not a major, huge drop for the minutes that Livingston's going to give you. And that's a little bit of a difference. I mean, you can when you make the drop and you take a look at what these teams, for you to get to that championship, these are the teams you have to beat, and that's why you take a look at the top team on the other side, which still is the Golden State Warriors. When your biggest problem is if here's the thing, if Kyrie Irving gets injured again. Remember a couple years he got injured, they went into that series and they got wiped out.
Right.
Last year with him there, they did fine. They won the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's going through again, Kyrie Irving's injured.
Right.
If that happens again, they didn't have an answer 2 years ago. They had no one that they could bring in that could keep him at some sort of the same, caliber.
Right.
They still don't have that. But in fact, they're a little bit lesser now than they were then if something happens to Kyrie Irving. If Steph Curry goes down, which is a big down, you still have Sean Livingston to bring in. He can still dish the ball off to Thompson. You've got the people like Thompson and Durant that are still going to score. You got Draymond Green that's going to still bust you down low when you go down there. It's just not that much of a drop off as far as what happens if Kyrie Irving comes out of the Cavaliers lineup. So I mean, I understand LeBron's. I agree with you. He has a limited time left that he's going to play. He wants to make sure that he can maximize every opportunity that he has to win championships. To win championships, you have to have the ability to bring players off the bench. Remember with the great teams of the Bulls, you went Steve Kerr on the sidelines. You had B.J. Armstrong you could bring off.
Right.
You had these guys that you could bring in. That when you lost someone, it wasn't that much of a huge drop off. So you had Heinrich you could always bring. I mean you take a look at that team. That's what LeBron James wants. He wants to make sure that when we drop off, it's not a huge fall. Right now it's like falling off a 10-story building. It's that much of a drop. What if we limit that to a 3-story building? I can see where he's coming from. And no, I don't think the addition of Kyle Korver is a bad idea. Yes, you can take him out there.
Right.
But he gives you a little bit more shot. He gives you a much smoother shot and a sleeker shot from the outside. But if you're looking at him to take over for the point guard position,
right,
that's not going to happen.
I don't expect
I can see
him
the wheels turn.
Well, I don't expect him to take over for that position, but I think in a pinch he will work out well. I think LeBron James has much ado about nothing in this. I think he's complaining far too much than what he needs to. I think they're okay enough in the guard position, considering there's really nothing else out there that's going to upgrade where they're at right now.
Okay. Here's the thing.
I mean, it's easy to go, well, I want this and I want that. Well, that's fine. Go find one.
Well, here's the thing. If Kyrie Irving gets hurt, what do you have? I mean, you don't have anything you can really go to. That's the problem. And yes, I think that LeBron is complaining a little bit too much, but here's the thing. He wants to win. He sees what the competition is over on the other side. He knows if Kyrie Irving isn't there, he just doesn't match up now to those teams. And the thing is you can't leave Kyrie out there for 45 minutes of the game either, because that's when he's going to get hurt.
Right.
So, I mean, yes, you just have to find a way in which you can, you're going to have a drop-off, but not have such a fall.
Well, as long as they don't have a drop-off enough that it completely affects the way they score points and how many points they score, then at that point, LeBron, keep your head down and play, bro. Seriously, quit worrying about it. Let the GMs do their job. Anyhow, we need to get our wild card picks in here before we get things wrapped up. So let's go and do that. These are your picks, absolutely sure to go wrong. So these are
that's because it's us.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. All right, NFL Wildcard Weekend.
Rumbling, stumbling. Let's get this out there.
All right, here we go. The Oakland Raiders, the Houston Texans, 3:35 p.m. on ESPN. The Oakland Raiders and Texans. Who you got, Steve-O?
Oakland at home. I'll take Oakland to win this one.
All right, the Raiders over the Texans. I have the Texans to take the Raiders.
You're an Osweiler fan. You're just an Osweiler.
All right.
Quit being an Osweiler.
The Detroit Lions, the Seattle Seahawks. That is 7:15 Saturday night, NBC. Lions, Seahawks.
Very competitive game, but I think it comes down to the fact I don't think Detroit handles Safeco Field. I think Seattle will take this game.
I say forget the 12th man. Detroit, the Detroit Lions, they got this, baby. The Lions win a playoff game for the first time since I was in high school. The Detroit Lions beat the Seattle Seahawks. And then we have Sunday, the Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, 12:05 CBS.
Defense takes over. Pittsburgh will take this one out. Big Ben will have a big game. I think Le'Veon Bell also.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have a real shot to win this. I also think the Dolphins have a real shot to win this. This will be the upset of the weekend. The Miami Dolphins run over the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They keep the score low. They keep the game tight. But the Dolphins eke out a victory in the Steel City.
You're going JJ, huh?
I am. The New York Giants, the Green Bay Packers, 3:40 p.m. Fox. Who do you got, Steve-O, as if I need to ask?
Oh, it's going to be a close game, but I tell you, we're going to continue to run that table. I think Aaron Rodgers has another big game. I think the defense comes up with just enough to stop Eli Manning. I think Eli Manning is going to make a couple of mistakes in this one. Look for a big game from Clinton Dix. But I think the biggest game is going to come from Aaron Rodgers, but also Ty Montgomery. I think the young man will have a good game on the field. Green Bay in a close one.
And I myself, I have to do this. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I lost all of the music.
That's okay.
On it. That's horrible.
I'll give you the music. Yeah, dum dum, da dum dum, da dum 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 dum.
Hey, I got it. I'm good.
No, I think I had the right thing going there.
No, I'm good. All right, here we go. The New York Giants, the Green Bay Packers. I hate to say it, Steve-O, the ride is over.
Da-dum-dum, da-dum-dum, da-dum-dum.
The way I look at it, Eli Manning turns much like a transformer.
Yeah, just like your music.
Yeah, just like
it goes out.
That's what happens when I hit the power button. I'm not supposed to.
There you go. Da-dum-dum, da-dum-dum. I got it going for you.
All right. Here, let me talk. Eli Manning turns into playoff Eli, much like Optimus Prime goes from a truck to a robot. All of a sudden, just here he is, playoff Eli. The Giants are I think they're going to take advantage of the Green Bay Packers' one real weakness on defense, and that is the secondary. Between Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham Jr., I expect to see probably about 15 catches between the two for about 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns. The New York Giants take advantage of that weakness, and they walk out of Green Bay in the frigid cold and move into the second round of the playoffs. I hate to say it because it was a hell of a run for the Packers, but I think this is it.
You know, someone out there, we've got you covered because each of us, we have not agreed on any one of these games.
No, we absolutely don't. That's funny.
So we have you all covered out there. You just decide which one you like. If you're smart, I know who that was. So thank you very much for your support.
And you know what? And what's really great about the fact that
I'll be texting. I am off this weekend, so I'll be texting you the whole time.
Yeah, well, I'm off this weekend, so I'll be waiting for those texts.
Oh, I know you will.
It's funny though because I like it when you and I don't agree on anything. Because there's always going to be that competition of who was right, who was righter, me or you.
Who's had better luck at that aspect?
You have. I'm not going to argue. However,
you have done well in some aspects. Yes, you have.
We've done all right. The boy has done all right. So it changes. It goes back and forth. And really, because you're my friend. And because I know how much you love the Packers, I really do hope they win.
You just don't think it's going to happen.
I just predict the Giants to win. I do hope the Packers win. I'd love to see nothing more than the Packers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So you and I could sit here
and I heard
on our Super Bowl show, Super Bowl Sunday morning. I would like nothing more than you and I to come in here in our jerseys and take a selfie of the two of us as we're getting ready for the Packers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I would love to see it. I really would.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I can't help it. I've got to take the Giants on this one. I just think that this is it right here. This is the one team I think that can exploit Green Bay's one defensive weakness. So.
Well, and that's the way it goes. Now we have one more game to predict, and that is the one on Monday night.
That is very much.
That of course is the college football championship.
We have Alabama Crimson Tide,
Alabama versus the Clemson Tigers.
So this game last year was a very, very tight game. There were a few mistakes, most notably by Clemson. It's going to be a tight game. Steve Sarkisian obviously has been schooled in calling plays on the sidelines. Obviously, also being a head coach, he has had plenty of experience in games as big as this. You do have to wonder how quickly he was going to be able to take over the reins. This is not like their bowl game. This is not like their bowl game where they had a month to prepare. They played last week. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin got fired 4 days ago. Steve Sarkisian, we don't know how much Steve Sarkisian knows or how much the offense is acclimated to Sarkisian. So there's that aspect of we don't really know what to expect out of this Alabama offense. That said, I really don't believe Nick Saban would have, regardless of his relationship with Lane Kiffin, I don't believe Nick Saban would have done something that would intentionally or even have a chance in his mind of putting this game at risk for the Crimson Tide. So I have nothing but faith that Alabama is going to be prepared for this game. I also don't have anything but faith that Clemson is going to be prepared for Alabama. I expect it to be a very, very tight game. I really expect this to be a back-and-forth game. I expect Alabama to win. I'm going to pick Alabama to win.
Okay.
But it's not going to be by much.
And here is where we disagree one more time.
Love it.
Because I think we disagree on something else. I think it's going to be Bo, and more Bo. And I think that defense is just too killer. I think you've got too many first-round draft picks in that defense. I think Alabama wins this game also, but I do not think it's going to be close.
Really?
I don't think it's going to be close. I think that defense is that good.
So you have Alabama.
I have Alabama.
All right, so our pick is the same.
Our pick is the same. You think it's going to be back and forth and very close. I don't. I don't.
No,
I think Alabama will run away with this thing. It'll be a 10-point game at the least.
Well, that a 10-point game is not that bad. I mean, that's not that far off. But if it's, massive, if you think it's some kind of a blowout.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a close game.
Oh well, that's a different story.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close.
Huh. Well,
I think 2 touchdowns, easy.
Well, that's yeah. Now that's a blowout.
Yeah.
If it's 2 scores, that's a blowout. Well, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, that's gonna be a wrap for us.
Hey,
that does it.
Wrap it up. 2
hours went by real quick. I gotta admit.
It did.
So anyhow,
a lot of good stuff.
Yep. Enjoy Wildcard Weekend for Steve Detterman. This is Steve Willis. We're going home. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Trying to hide the pain.